At it again. We got to talk about Bill Barr and Caitlin Collins from CNN because she recently had them on and it didn't go the way that she had hoped. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
He responded in response to you saying you'd vote for the Republican ticket. Wow, former AG Bill Barr, who let a lot of great people down by not investigating voter fraud in our country, has just endorsed me for president despite the fact that I called him weak, slow-moving, lethargic, gutless, and lazy. Based on the fact that I greatly appreciate his wholehearted endorsement, I am removing the word lethargic from my statement. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah. It's classic Trump. What's the question?
What's your response?
Well, I mean, obviously, what I said was that I'm very disappointed that this country is stuck with this choice between two people who I don't think either of them should be president of the United States. But given that binary choice, I feel I have to choose Trump.
But he's mocking you.
So it's not about me. I think that I've said this all along. If faced with a choice between two people, neither of which I think should be president, I feel it's my duty to pick the person who I think would do the least damage to the country. And I think Trump would do less damage than Biden. And I think,
and I think it's important to say that while, yes, I get it, Bill Barr, not the greatest of people. As a matter of fact, I made a video on Bill Barr, I believe it was last week, because Bill Barr had made a statement about him supporting Uncle Trump, and I was seeing some conservatives saying that, oh no, Bill Barr, we don't need your support. And I'm like, yo, that is a foolish statement. That is foolish. Now, I'm not saying Bill Barr is the most influential person that there is, but I'm sure there's a lot of never Trumpers that probably follow Bill Barr and agree with, some of the stuff that he said in the past. And the fact that he's coming out now and saying, well, actually, no, I will support Donald Trump. I'd much rather support him over Joe Biden. I feel like that holds a little bit of weight. It may not be, he may not be able to pull, millions of people, right? But hey, if Bill Barr saying that could convince even a few people, I'm happy with that. And at the end of the day, why would you push away support? You should want to bring on more support. I don't care about what he said in the past. I don't care. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. I'm not the type of guy that cares about what people says. Maybe I'm just a different type of person, right? I don't know. Y'all can let me know in the comment section. But the fact that he openly is saying that, hey, I'm supporting Donald Trump, I respect that. I respect that. And the fact that he can put his differences to the side and say that, I respect it even more. Because you heard him right there when she said, well, but he was mocking you. He was like, so? It's not about me. Listen, I respect the hell out of that personally. Y'all can let me know how y'all feel in the comment section.
I think all this stuff about a threat to democracy, I think the real threat to democracy is the progressive movement and the Biden administration.
Fact.
The Biden administration or President Biden himself?
Biden's support for the progressive agenda.
I think a lot of people hear that, and the case that we just talked about that went before the Supreme Court essentially, and say, how can you see that and say that Biden is a greater threat to democracy?
Well, where are we losing our freedoms? How are our freedoms being constrained? They're being constrained by the progressive government. And, democracy, especially, from the Anglosphere democracies, the Five Eyes and so forth, the threat's never been for autocratic government on the right.
But how specifically is Biden threatening democracy?
The threat to freedom and democracy has always been on the left. It's the collectivist, socialist agenda. And that is where we're losing our freedom. Parents are losing the freedom to control their children's education. People can't speak their mind without losing their jobs and things like that. This is worse than the McCarthy era. Where is that coming from? It's not coming from the right.
Those two things that you just noted there, you believe are worse than a president of the United States trying to subvert the will of the people by overturning the results of the election?
No, I think a country, all the things together, like we're not enforcing our borders. We have open borders. We have lawlessness in our cities. We have regulations coming fast and furious, so telling people what kind of stoves they can use and what kinds of cars they have to drive, and eliminating cars and so forth. Yeah, those are the threats to democracy.
But
Yeah, it's funny how they always accuse Republicans and Trump of exactly what they are and what they are doing. They are the ones that want to control every aspect of your life. It isn't Trump or Republicans. It isn't. Not even by a long shot. Not by a country mile. Not even close. Like you heard him say, like they want to control, what type of stoves we can buy, what type of cars we can drive, which I don't even like electric cars anyway. I want to hear an engine. I want to hear the rumble. I want to hear the roar. I want to hear, some sounds coming out of the mufflers. I'm not the silent type of guy. To each his own. If you want an electric car, sure, by all means. But me, no, thank you. No, sir. No, sir. I do not want it. If you want it, that's fine. But like Uncle Trump said, we should have the option. There shouldn't be just this mandatory thing. Oh, all cars have to be electric. That's bogus. That's not what happens according to, right? Because I got to use the language of them. That's not what happens in a democracy. People should get to choose, right? That's what a dictator does when he takes away things and tells you, hey, this is the way it's going to be, or else. Right? Am I wrong? I'm just saying. They're the dictators, not Trump.
President Biden is not in control of what some school boards across the country are doing.
He's using the
you can make that
administrative
argument, but how is that the same thing?
Major changes are being made in our country without the democratic process, and they're being made by bureaucrats in these agencies.
Pause. You cannot argue that Republicans across the country are not doing that as well. In my own hometown, there's a huge fight at the library over which books kids can read. This is not something that is a single-party fight.
Do you think don't you think there should be some limits on what people are able to read at very young ages?
I just think people look at what you're saying and they don't.
Some people might.
Maybe even Republicans who have concerns about what's happening with school boards or the culture. And maybe abortion even, don't equate that with January 6th and Trump's efforts. When you told him the election was not stolen, and he still went out there and said it was stolen and led a lot of people to believe that. Those things aren't equal. It feels like a false equivalency.
Well, I disagree. I think I think the country is much more susceptible to losing freedoms by the excesses of the left, and they have been steadily, and that's clear. People lose their jobs. Kids can't speak out in the classroom. They have to go along with what the professor says in order to get good grades and so forth. It's become like a Stepford nation being directed by the progressive elites.
Republicans are also trying to limit what could be said in the classroom. But I do want to ask you, because you're a lifelong Republican, I don't think it's a surprise that you don't like those issues that a lot of Republicans blame on Democrats. I think there's a question of how they're the same. But I want you to listen to what another lifelong Republican, Liz Cheney, said about your decision to vote for the Republican ticket in November.
Given what Bill Barr has said publicly about Trump's lack of fitness for office, I think that his assertion now that he's actually going to support Trump for office is indefensible, and was frankly disappointing to see.
She says it's indefensible.
Well, that's her view. That's her view. The fact of the matter is, as I said all along, I agreed with Trump's policies, and despite the media, the left-wing media's effort to portray it as a lawless administration, it wasn't. His policies were sound, and we had victories in courts, and we defended them. I think that Biden is unfit for office.
So you're basically saying that you are voting because you want the Republican policies?
Well, that's certainly part of it.
Well, I'm glad you said that.
But I also don't
Hold on. I'm glad you said that, because you told Geraldo Rivera last year, you may want his policies, but Trump will not deliver Trump policies. He will deliver chaos, and if anything, lead to a backlash that will set his policies much further back than they would otherwise be. You're even acknowledging he can't accomplish those Republican policies.
What I was saying was, if you want Trump's policies, if you're MAGA and want to make America great again, the other candidates will be successful at that much more than he will.
But
For
that's
the reasons
not the
I
other candidates.
stated.
It's going to be Donald Trump.
That's right. I'm certainly not going to get anywhere near what I'd like under Biden. And Biden is not a great moral exemplar. Okay? And is he following the laws? Here he is giving away another round of forgiving student loans after he lost it in the Supreme Court, and he thinks he can get away. And he thinks he can get away with it by getting it out the door before the election. But he's not enforcing the law on the borders.
But those are policy differences that you disagree with. Trump, I remember also when border numbers were at an all-time high in the spring of 2019. So the idea that border chaos only happens under this administration is inaccurate. But I think people see that.
We had it under control
That's
because we had a program approved by the Supreme Court called Remain in Mexico that was fully lawful and had shut down the border, and he came in and lifted it.
How can you equate the border is a real issue? I've been to the border. No one's denying that. But is that the same thing as what you said recently, which was that?
And are you guys noticing this? Because, sometimes when, these guys in mainstream media or gals get called out on their bias, they always try to say, oh, no, we deliver fair news. I'm sure a lot of you have seen the compilation. I know I've shown it. I can't remember if I put it in a short or in a long format video, but there was a compilation video of a bunch of different news stations that were all repeating the same thing. And one of the things that they were all repeating was fair and honest news. Is this fair and honest? This isn't fair and honest, because all she's doing this entire time is defending Biden. That's it. Defending Biden and trying to get Bill Barr to flip his statement, to flip his support, right? If this was a fair interview, she'd just simply be asking some questions and letting him answer. But the crazy part about this is, if someone were to go on one of these shows and say, hey, I support Biden, they never get any pushback. Never. Nobody ever questions anything. Nobody asks any type of questions like what she's saying here, right? Or what she's doing here. It's only when you say you support Trump. So is that really honest, unbiased news? I mean, of course, like we all knew that it was biased, of course, right? I'm just saying, I'm calling them out on their BS lie when they try to say, oh, we're unbiased. I just wanted to point that out there, but we can end that one there. Shout out to Bill Barr, though. Shout out to Bill Barr. And yes, I get it. He's not the greatest character in the world, right? We understand that. But the fact that he is putting his support behind Trump and putting their differences to the side, and saying, hey, I'm backing Trump. He's better for the country. I can get behind that. I can't be mad at that. I don't care about what he said in the past and whatnot, because I know that's what some people are going to say, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. He's saying now, hey, I'm backing Trump, and it's that simple. We should take it, right? We all should take it. I don't see why some, conservatives were saying, no, we don't want your support. Like, that's crazy to me. That's absolutely insane. But as always, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.